What's up, everybody? Some thoughts from the weekend, and here's the deal. Here's the deal, St. Louis. We are now a Battlehawks town. We're now a St. Louis City town, okay? Let's just face it. Blues can't win a game. Cardinals lose 2 of 3. To the Reds, drop the last 2 in the series. Our pets' heads are falling off. No, listen. It's early for the Cardinals. I'm not going to go crazy. Blues, more issues there. We'll get to that in a second. But we got to start with the Cardinals. Series finale against the Reds, and the Cardinals get trounced 12-1. Now, obviously, all 3 of your starters do not perform well throughout this series. Jack Flaherty, Adam Wainwright, Carlos Martinez. And those were the guys, relatively speaking, a little bit I get with Carlos, but you were more saying, okay, we're good with Flaherty, with Waino. It's the back half of the rotation in terms of guys like Daniel Ponce de Leon and John Gant, where you're wondering, because they weren't supposed to be in the rotation anyway to start the year. You had injuries with KK and Miles Michaelis. I still have confidence in those guys, but you're wondering what type of performances you'll get from those guys. Can they cover a lot of innings? And as I said, Flaherty, Wainwright, Carlos Martinez, who has been an all-star. I understand he's a question mark, but all those guys get lit up. I'm not going to go crazy after 3 games. We'll see if those guys come back and pitch well. I think they'll certainly pitch better, but obviously the first 3 games, whoa, your pitching staff got lit up at Great American Ballpark. And then Nick Castellanos, I talked a lot about that already. But let me tell you something. It just came down. He got a 2-game suspension. I don't think he should have been suspended for that at all. I get it, maybe a fine. But look, it was heat of the moment. He'd been plunked with 93, okay? It was the perfect storm with him being able to slide into the pitcher that just hit him at the plate. And he jumps up. He's emotional. He does the WWE. It is what it is. I'm not saying I want my kids to do that, but these are grown men. It's professional sports. Emotions are running high. I did not think he should be suspended. And here's the other part of that. Nick Castellanos talked the talk, and then the following day, he walked the walk, and he owned you Cardinals at the plate, going 2 for 4 in the finale with 3 RBIs, 2 runs. He had a homer, and he had a triple, so he was getting into it on Saturday, and then he rolled right into just killing you at the plate on Sunday. And I understand Cardinal fans aren't happy, but this is good for baseball. It's good when you have storylines like this. Nick Castellanos, who I think is actually a really good guy, and I loved his comments afterwards about Yadier Molina saying, Yadi could punch me in the face, and I'd still ask for a signed jersey. Yadi's a boss. I mean, you got to love that. He even called Adam Wainwright a Hall of Famer. When Adam Wainwright said he didn't like the fact that Castellanos picked up the ball and basically said, here, Jake Woodford, you want it back? Adam Wainwright said that was tired, and Castellanos said, look, Adam Wainwright, he's a Hall of Famer. Now, I don't know if he'll actually be a Hall of Famer. He's definitely a Cardinals Hall of Famer, probably not a baseball Hall of Famer, although Adam Wainwright has had a tremendous career. But Castellanos showed a lot of respect and said he can say what he wants. He's been in this game a long time. He's entitled to his opinion. But more so, we now have a new villain. We have a new rivalry in terms of the Cards and Reds have always been rivals. Go back to, of course, Tony and Dusty for some of those years, and Brandon Phillips, obviously, with Yachty, and then what happened with Johnny Cueto, kicking Chris Carpenter and ending Jason LaRue's career. But now we have a new villain. And I was trying to think, I've been in St. Louis since 2008. Nick Castellanos will now be hated every time he plays the Cardinals for the rest of his career. And that's what makes the sport fun, though. You had Phillips, you had Johnny Cueto, Niger Morgan for a while there with the Brewers. You could go back to some of those playoff series against the Dodgers where Yasiel Puig, there was all the talk of the Mickey Mouse stuff, Adrian Gonzalez. This is what makes baseball fun, everybody. Embrace it, debate it, whether you agree or you don't disagree. This gets people to watch the sport. And again, Cardinals, Castellanos WWE flexed on you, and then he flexed on you at the plate on Sunday, going 2 for 4 with the triple, the homer, 3 RBIs and 2 runs. and the Reds took care of business. I'm not saying the Reds are going to be a better team than the Cardinals all season long, but not a good series for your St. Louis Cardinals. All right, let's talk some Blues now. Another rough weekend. Blues losing 2 to the Colorado Avalanche. I actually thought they played better, and I know you can't really take a lot of solace in that, especially at this point. You're in 5th. You're out of a playoff spot, but I did think they played better on the ice, did not get the results they wanted, especially Saturday night's game. That's absolutely crushing when you allow a goal in the final minute, final 40 seconds, whatever it was. You're 40 seconds away from at least 1 point, and then whatever would happen in an overtime or shootout, Nathan MacKinnon owned you all weekend long. And now you have the Vegas Golden Knights, one of the best teams in all of hockey, and Alex Pietrangelo finally coming back to play his former team, and we'll see what kind of ovation and tribute he gets. I know it's not the same without a full capacity crowd, but that should be pretty special. I was reading the game notes for tonight, and you just look at some of the ranks of the Blues. Okay, I'll go down the list here. Goals for, 2.73. They're 19th in the league. Goals against, 3.14. They're 24th in the league. Shots per game, 29.5. They're 19th in the league. Shots against, 29.4. They're 13th in the league. Power play, 18.2%. They're 21st in the league. Penalty kill, 75%. They're 26th in the league. They are good at team face-off percentage, 52.6, 4th best in the league. But I just ran down 7 stats for you, and besides face-off percentage, the Blues are not a good hockey team. These are some of the most important stats in the game, and just your overall numbers. The Blues are in the teens or late teens or 20s in most of these categories. I know there's been a lot of injuries, but the St. Louis Blues right now, they are not a very good hockey team. They're not a playoff hockey team at the moment, and their schedule is ridiculous down the stretch. You look on the other side with Vegas, and this is one of the best defensive teams, especially in hockey. Goals against, 2.28, second best in the league. And they're pretty good offensively. 3.14 goals scored per game. That's 11th best. So they're about top third, but they hang their hat on the defense. And you're looking at shots against, 27.6, 5th best in the NHL. The penalty kill, 84.5%, 6th best in the NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights are one of the best defensive hockey teams in the league. And remember, Alex Pietrangelo was out for a while. And I know they're second place in the division right now, but there's a lot of people that think the Vegas Golden Knights are the best team in all of hockey. So it will be an interesting game, and it's one of those games where the Blues just have to find a way to win or to get a point. No excuses anymore. I know they're playing better, but at this point, where you are in the standings, you have to roll this into actually points in the win-loss column. This is professional sports. If you're going to make the playoffs, and right now there's a very good chance that the Blues won't, they have to find a way to take a good game on the ice and turn it into pucks in the back of the net and get a point or two against the Vegas Golden Knights. College basketball, national championship game, 2 number 1 seeds. Gonzaga 31-0 versus Baylor 27-2. The Zags a 4.5-point favorite. What an incredible game on Saturday night. Gonzaga beating UCLA 93-90 in overtime. Exceptional game. Jalen Suggs beating the buzzer. The bank was open on a Saturday night with a 3-pointer right after Johnny Juzang and UCLA had scored to tie it there with 3 or 4 seconds left. Incredible basketball game. And it's crazy to think, though, that in that game, here's UCLA, the plucky 11 seed, UCLA, the model West Coast basketball program for the last, 50, 60 years, and it's Gonzaga, the 1 seed. How the tables have turned, and it shows you what Mark Few has built there in Spokane. And that's where I like the Zags to win tonight. I actually like the Zags also to cover because, remember, they've been destroying teams. And don't take my gambling advice because I'm terrible, but Gonzaga has been crushing teams all tournament long because they played finally a close game, a 3-point game in overtime versus UCLA. I could even see them being undervalued in terms of the spread because this is a team that has it all. And Mark Few, what he's built at Gonzaga the last 20 or so years, I want him to be rewarded and win a national championship, because a lot of coaches like that, they leave for the bigger schools. Heck, he could have left for UCLA probably several times, or any other job in the country, really, because he's one of the best college basketball coaches in the nation. But the fact that he stayed, and his white whale is the national championship, this is one of those years where Gonzaga feels like a team of destiny. They're 31-0. They can go undefeated, even the way they beat UCLA, where you thought UCLA could snipe them. And it's tied there, but Jalen Suggs comes down. He hits the triple. He's standing on the table. They're celebrating. It just seems like this is the year for Gonzaga to finally win a national championship. They're the best team in college basketball. I know the best team doesn't always win, but this feels like the type of year where that should be the case, and Mark Few should finally get his national championship. A couple of things also I want to tell you about that I watched over the weekend. Netflix documentaries. White Boy, the story of White Boy Rick, the drug dealer from Detroit. You may have heard his name in Kid Rock lyrics, and I believe Eminem has used him in songs over the years. This guy was an informant for the FBI going back to when he was 14, put in prison at the age of 17 for about 30 years. And here's this kid with all the gangs, all the coke dealers in Detroit, a 17-year-old kid who goes to prison for 30 or so years. There's all kinds of stories of corruption with the mayor's office, with the police department, running drugs through the city of Detroit. It's called White Boy on Netflix, the story of White Boy Rick. I recommend that. And because I was in the documentary mood, I also watched The King, the story of Ronnie Coleman. If you're into bodybuilding or reading about bodybuilding back in the day, I worked at a gym from about 2000 to 2004, and Ronnie Coleman, when he was winning all the Mr. Olympias back then, he was the man on the cover of all the magazines, Flex and Muscle and Fitness. And here's this guy who was a police officer, and he couldn't even really wear pants because his legs were so enormous. So he's wearing shorts as a police officer. He's got veins popping out of his biceps and his head and his forearms. And this was the greatest bodybuilder on earth as I was growing up and reading Muscle and Fitness and working at the gym. And now here he is after the fact, still a very successful businessman, but the way his body is broken and he's walking around on crutches because of all the hip surgeries and all the damage, all that lifting did to him over the course of his life. So White Boy and The King, these are the stories of White Boy Rick and also Ronnie Coleman, the bodybuilder. I recommend both of them. Not the greatest documentaries ever, but definitely watchable, and I think you'll enjoy the both of them on Netflix. All right? Good times, everybody. Thanks for listening. Remember, here on YouTube, please comment, like, subscribe, ring that bell for the notifications. I want you to comment here on the videos. I will respond to all of them, and I want to make this page interactive for you. Throw out ideas. What do you want to hear me talk about? Or what I said earlier about who are some of these Cardinals villains over the years. I mentioned Castellanos now, Niger Morgan, Brandon Phillips, Johnny Cueto. Who did I miss there? I was trying to think of a great Cubs player. On the radio earlier, somebody mentioned Carlos Zambrano, but I didn't see that to the same extent as some of the guys I mentioned. So who did I miss? Comment, like, subscribe, watch. I appreciate it, and we will see you soon tonight. Go Blues, go Zags, and go Cardinals, of course.